You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the December 20th, 2023 meeting of the LaPorte County Board of Commissioners. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
I'd like to call the LaPorte County Commissioners meeting Wednesday, December 20th, 2023 at 6 p.m. We're going to call the meeting to order. If everyone would please stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner Grammarosa,
Present.
Commissioner Haney,
Present.
and Commissioner Brzezinski.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Consider agenda.
Madam President, I'd like to add 2 items to the agenda here this evening. Move to add requests from adult probation for travel to the annual Anti-Drug Coalition of the American North National Leadership Conference, as well as travel for them to the American Probation and Parole Association Institute.
Madam President, there was actually a third on this, our list here. Add to the agenda, request Senator Dalton make an inquiry into the county's fund balances, year-to-date expenditures, and available funds on hand for purposes of year-end reporting and account reconciliations. I would make the motion, we go ahead and approve the agenda as amended.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Consider approval of the December 6, 2023 minutes.
Motion to approve.
I'd move to amend your motion to approve to just put some clarity in the minutes as to individuals who gave their opinions on the voters registration move, just to indicate whether they were in favor of or opposed to that. Here, there's no indication whether some of these speakers were for it or against it. It just simply says statements. I think the members of the public have a right to have their views recorded accurately.
I don't understand what he wants.
So there were comments made at the last meeting by individuals of the public, and for example, the statement here, the minutes are quoted as, quote, commented on voter registration offices moving to new location. The next individual, voter registry statements on voter registration office move. I'd like to see verbiage added, just saying that those comments were opposing the move, as opposed to there's nothing here indicating whether it was for or against or anything in relation to what the members of the public were trying to
So back
express.
in January, Daryl Borton put down that you had made a comment that you were king of the county, and you asked the assistant to have that struck from the minutes. So should we go back and should we always make sure that we verbatimly put down what people say? Is that what you'd like to do?
I'm not even sure what you're referring to in January. However, I think that people, if they make a statement either for or against something, it should at least be recorded whether they were for or against it. I'm not saying you have to put down everything that they said, but they including the word opposed, is that somehow inaccurate? And don't members of the public have a right to have their voices heard and
I would
reported
second
accurately?
that. And I would also like to go back to the January meeting minutes where when Daryl Borton said that Joe was acting like king of the county, and I like that put into the minutes as well. I made a motion, do I have a second? Have a motion and a second? All those in favor say aye.
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 Consideration of claims.
Would you like them separately, Commissioners?
Yes.
We have payroll for the period ending 12/15/2023 in the amount of $1,511,250.97 for your consideration.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 And we have operating expense claims in the amount of $3,817,505.09.
Yeah, I got a question for you there, Mr. Auditor. I just was made aware of this just a couple days ago. I didn't realize that you, as the secretary for the council and commissioners, that you're farming out some of your work to somebody that works in the clerk's office. I got a bill here for $1,200 for doing minutes for meetings. And so when I looked into it, I found out that it's been going on for some time. So far, the taxpayers have paid an additional $5,528 for somebody in the clerk's office to do your job. Why?
We are one full-time employee down from our normal, so we're using part-timers to save the taxpayers money. So we're one employee down. We've been one employee down for a few years now. So the part-time money was authorized by the council, and they approved it, and so we're utilizing it. We have one of the smallest, I will point out, we do have one of the smallest, smaller part-time budgets of the financial function offices of LaPorte County. If you look at all three different financial functions, we have one of the smallest part-time budgets. So we stand proudly for if you want to do a study or a efficiency study. I know the president of the council has talked about that, and some council members. We welcome an efficiency study and the accountability to see how efficient my staff members are. We do use a contract employee to do the minutes. That's true. We don't make any apologies for that.
How many people you have in your office? And you don't have enough somebody to do the minutes? I'm just asking.
We have a total of 14, which includes one part-timer who's in the office. The minutes are an outside contract employee relationship. So
Yeah, one of these in question was for a commissioners meeting that you charge the commissioners for doing your job, and farming this out to someone in the clerk's office.
it's an outside
You
contract.
think about the $5,528 that taxpayers have already paid, but as far as this $1,200 one, I'm not signing that.
I don't know what that is. What is $1,200?
$1,200 for someone in the clerk's office to type up your minutes.
I would be of the opinion that using a part-time employee for $5,000 worth of work over 3 years is better than having a full-time employee to do the same job for $120,000 spread out over
If you didn't already have
years at
14,
$40,000 a year.
if you didn't already have 14 employees, that might hold water, but it don't.
That's an arbitrary. Have you compared the number of employees we have to other auditors' offices in different counties? You haven't done any work or studied
I'm talking
anything.
about anybody else's county. I'm talking about our county, your job, and you're farming it out to somebody in the clerk's office. And I don't know if they're doing it on county time or at home or what they're doing.
Want to get into a game of harassing me specifically with regard to authorized charges from the county council? This county is going to grind to a halt because I'm going to stop payments to your people arbitrarily.
Yeah. You've already done that.
Yeah, well,
No, we have not already done that.
do what you think's right for 12 more months. I'm not signing this. Deduct it $1,200.
I don't know what you're so indignant about, Commissioner.
And then
This is all good faith. This is all getting the business of the council done. Those minutes are done very professionally, and very so. This is harassment on your part, and nothing less.
call it what you like. Operating expenses, that amount minus $1,200, I'll approve that.
So let me just make a point. Services have been provided, and when you make a choice, when services have been provided by a vendor to say we're not going to pay them, you destroy the confidence of any vendor in LaPorte County. Yeah, you can laugh all you want. We could talk specifically about a vendor who's provided a service. Now,
We've had a lot of vendors provide services, and actually at our last meeting, we had a vendor that had a bill from September paid in December.
you're not even saying who and what it is. That the bill that was submitted to us was only submitted to us in December. We can't pay something that wasn't submitted properly, or where there's not funds that's not coming from the proper account. So you can make up stuff all you want to make me look bad, but there's 3 examples of bills that weren't paid, and all 3 were attorneys. And one's in court right now, and another one hopefully is being resolved.
Not the
So
issue here.
you can act like there's all this stuff that
That's
we
not
don't
the issue
pay,
here.
but you're full of it.
So mine
And you're
is
lying.
the $1,200. You're at $3,816,305.09.
Approve that.
Do we
Motion
have
to-
a second?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? I'll step
No,
down
no,
and
we should, we,
second.
we, we
This
should
is
be paying, we should be
harassment.
paying all the employees.
So we have
This is
a motion.
pure
and we have a
harassment of the
second.
auditor's office, and you should both be ashamed
All
of
those in
ashamed of
favor say
yourselves.
aye.
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 Nay.
Okay. Moving on. Public comment.
Good evening. I'm Linda Lancaster I'm the Vice President of the League of Women Voters of LaPorte County, and I'm speaking on behalf of the League of Women Voters of LaPorte County, 111 Wilshire Avenue, Michigan City. Commissioners,
The January 6th.
the members of the League of Women Voters of LaPorte County would like to take this time to address a very important issue, that of civility. We're a nonpartisan organization with the purpose of encouraging citizens to participate in the democratic process, starting with voting, and motivating people to serve in the elected positions at city, county, state, and federal levels. Our members are deeply concerned about the effect of the behavior displayed by the commissioners at the December 6th meeting. The foundation of our democratic process is the ability for citizens and their elected officials to engage in discourse for all to be able to voice their opinion. A key factor of any working group such as the Board of Commissioners is group dynamics. Based on our observation of the commissioners' meetings, we're concerned about the effect of the decorum at the meetings has on the effect of LaPorte County. It's obvious that there's strong opinions on a variety of topics, and those opinions differ greatly, which is again the basis for the democratic process. However, the way the commissioners chose to share their opinions is not in a manner that encourages discourse. Members of the community, including members of our organization, are concerned about the chilling effect on the community involvement when we see elected officials yelling at each other and being disrespectful not only to each other but to the citizens of LaPorte County. We're concerned that this sort of behavior will affect citizens' desire to be involved in governance at all levels, including people staying at home and not voting. That meeting made it painfully obvious that there are communication problems within LaPorte County and a lack of common decency and respect for each other. As you well know, the county commission meetings are recorded and on a demand replay. It's been brought to our attention that the members of the Indiana legislature are watching the LaPorte County Commissioners meetings and find the exchange of ideas so badly expressed to the point of being humorous. A laughing stock is not the reputation the citizens of LaPorte County want to have with our state representatives. Finally, given the recent news of the election officials in Georgia, it's obvious that not only voters' ballots need to be protected, but the safety of the election board staff is of great concern. Moving the election staff out of the courthouse, where there's a security check for everyone coming into the building, removes a layer of protection and creates an unnecessary layer of danger for voters and election workers. The issue of building security needs to be addressed before the primary. We respectfully request that all commissioners address their behavior at the next meeting, recognizing it's not what is expected of elected officials, and apologize to each other and the citizens of LaPorte County. Thank you for your service and for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, Steve Hollifield, 6782 East, 100 South Mill Creek. I came here in January, spoke, had high hopes that we were finally behind everything in the past. But after last week's meeting, it was apparent. Last week's meeting, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, we had 4 developers here. 4 developers. One was going to put homes up near Schultz Road. Another one was going to put 2 buildings, spec buildings, at I-94 and 421 to bring more jobs in. 2,600 acre solar farm. I feel there's a better use of that land than a solar farm, but that at least they were wanting to do something in LaPorte County. And the biggest one of all, we had a tech company that was here and spoke of everything going on from along the toll road from Illinois to Ohio that was going to come down into LaPorte County to help provide jobs. I spoke against annexation, but I'm beginning to think that annexing into the city is the only way we're going to get any jobs because Mayor Dermody is moving forward. The people in this county are suffering. Every year our taxes go up. I don't care about tax rates. I don't care about none of that BS. It's the total tax bill we pay. It goes up every single year. We need hundreds of jobs to come back like the ones we lost in the 80s and 90s when Whirlpool, Chalmers, all those factories left, they're gone. We need jobs with benefits that are providing us on the same line of pay scale as our full-time elected get, who don't even have to show up for their jobs every single day or for the whole entire day. And I want to reiterate what Ms. Lancaster said. I go downstate also and speak. We are the laughingstock of the state of Indiana. They watch these meetings. Behave like adults. If there's an issue, I don't get along with the trustee in my township, which I'm the president of the board, but we have a job to do. If you want to argue and bicker with each other, do that off record. But things like happened with the voter registration, that should be done in the light of the public to see what's going on. But the way that was handled was terrible. I implore you guys again, I don't want to come up here again in January and start again, but I will continue to come up here and tell you guys, I've supported all three of you in the past. We have an election for two of you coming up in less than a year. I ask you to please remember that and start acting like adults to put the benefit of the people of this county ahead of your bickering or whatever you want to call it. Thank you.
Public comment still open.
Hello, Council.
Good
My name is
evening.
Wes Scully. I live in Michigan City, Trail Creek, 508 Pine Tree Drive. I am the current president for the LaPorte County NAACP. And I'm here tonight to stand in solidarity with Miss Monique Thomas about what's going on with her and the attacks that's going on against her integrity and her professionalism, and the fact that she holds a master's degree and been doing this job for over a year now. But now it's time for her to get the position that's due to her, but now she's getting attacked by false accusations from the auditor's office and from you, Mr. Haney. And we have a serious problem with that because I know this young lady for many years, and I know she has a great deal of integrity. She handles her job professionally, but when these accusations are brought against her and there's no proof, it makes you look bad. And it doesn't set well with our organization, and it doesn't set well with the people that see her work every day. Now, I just got through listening to you guys going back and forth and wanting to pay somebody $5,000 for doing a doggone report or whatever it was, and it was kind of like a joke. I mean, I don't understand it, but you got a problem with her getting paid for the position that she's been doing for over a year and getting the title for it that she absolutely deserved. It's an offense to the community and the people that put you in the position that you're in. To me, I question your professionalism. To me, I question your integrity. So if you got something against this lady, it can't be because of her credentials. I don't know if it's because she's a female, because she's African American. I don't know. But I do know this. The attack that she's under is unfair and it's unprofessional, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
I have no idea what you're talking about. What attack?
About the $650,000 that mysteriously came up. Yeah, that article right there, saying that
Article.
or article or email, whatever it is, but I read that, and it's saying basically.
Did I mention any department? Did I mention any individual?
This is what happens. It's not mentioning names on purpose, because the acquisition is geared towards her office and the work that she does, but there was no proof. Nobody can come up with any proof. That's why the names were omitted. It's the same old trick. All right, before you hand in that position that we don't want you to have, then we got to smear your name with acquisitions to make it look like you're incompetent. She's hardly not incompetent. She's very competent, very professional, and she got the credentials to back her up. Now, where that fake report came from, I imagine it came somewhere, maybe the auditor's office. I don't know. But I do know this.
We'll have a discussion later on.
Yeah. That's my stand against it. We're going to stand by her to the end. And don't forget, you guys will be running for office again next year.
Thank you. Public comment?
Appropriate.
Mike Seitz, 212 Lakeside, Walkerton, Indiana, or Fish Lake. I would like to commend the commissioners and maintenance on what a beautiful job they did decorating the property here. It's looking really good and beautiful, and they've done a really nice job for the last couple of years, and it really puts you in a Christmas spirit, even though there's no snow. So, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Do we have anyone on Zoom for public comment? Okay, we're closing public comment. Department head comment and reports. We're reopening public comment. Ms. Stevens, you're unmuted.
So apparently they can hear me on Zoom. Can you guys hear me?
Now we can hear you, yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, I just wanted to clear a quick something up. I don't care to get in the middle of anything between the commissioner's office, the auditor's office. Not interested. However, I will state that employee does not work on those minutes during county time. It will be either the lunch hour or at home. That does not happen on my time. So that's just not happening. The other thing I want to state is about the move of voter registration. And I want to make it clear that voter registration does not run elections, but under the direction of the clerk, when they were across the hall, they would assist with elections. And now that's not going to be a possibility. So I will be going to the council to ask for additional staff. So I just want to make it clear that they do not run the elections. That's mine. However, it is not realistic to think that myself and one elections deputy can do the work of 6 people. It just can't happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else for public comment? No more hands, Carly? Okay, moving on. Department head comments. Do we have anyone from the audience for department head comments? Okay, so, go ahead.
The matter that you were, Tim Stables, LaPorte County Auditor, the matter that you were discussing earlier, I want to be very clear. I second what Clerk Stevens said. This person is a contract employee on the side of her office, on the side, and she is paid on a per page basis. That is how we can do that, separate from her employment from LaPorte County without overtime and stuff like that. She can offer the service of doing a minute's work for anyone at a per page rate or something. It's not hourly. It's off the clock. It's usually in the evening that she does the minutes. Let me be very clear with you. We've been given a budget by the county council of LaPorte, and we've been authorized to hire this part timer, and we're utilizing the part timer, and services are being provided. You are weaponizing your office, and you are hindering us in performing the function of our office. We're going to pay this person. You go ahead and report whoever you want to report to, state police or the sheriff's office, but you are engaging in harassment and intimidation. There's this money in our budget, and this person needs to be paid. So you've chosen not to pay my attorney in defense against Mr. Friedman with regard to aspects of him engaging in what we have determined to be political activity, lobbying, community organizing, and other items that are not in his contract. You will not defend the authorities of the auditor's office with that attorney. You have refused to pay that bill. And now 2 of you are being sued by 3 employees for things involving intimidation, coercion, and abuse,
has nothing to
abuse of
do-
authority.
That has nothing.
Yes, but let me make a point. You have been sued both personally and professionally. If you expect me to pay your legal bills when you're being sued personally, good luck to you. Because what I'm going to say is the way you've treated me, which is wait until the court determines that you are not acting outside the nature of your professional capacities and we're not acting to recklessly harass, intimidate, and coerce employees and put the county at risk to maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars of losses because you wanted to tell someone what to do when you shouldn't have been. So what goes around comes around. I think bills should be paid. Yeah, you can laugh all you want and pretend that this office doesn't pay bills, but we can't pay what's not submitted properly. And when you let funds go dry, the council has to appropriate money to pay somebody. We can't pay something out of thin air. The money has to be there. We've got the money in this account. We get to pay our employees. Your job in approving claims dockets is not to arbitrarily and capriciously punish county officials. You're creating a disaster in the making. So, and if you think that you're going to be sued personally, you're not paying my legal bill because someone phantomly and a sham basis sued me personally when I'm trying to protect the citizens of LaPorte County from charges that shouldn't come to LaPorte County. And we get someone in good faith, a county employee in good faith who's providing services to the council, and you're going to say don't pay them? That's corrupt. And that is sick. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Thank you. Moving on, do we have anyone else for department heads? Okay, so I did invite Attorney DiMartino because there is an issue that we would like to talk about, and that is this roughly $650,000 overpayment. And in here, it really doesn't say who was overpaid. I think that it's important that since this was made public, that we kind of explain how the insurance works. We had the insurance company come in a executive session and explain it to us, and the figures were nowhere near what Commissioner Haney had posted on Facebook, and then he refused to retract it. So on November 20th, we were actually supposed to have a vote to decide. There was another applicant, and Monique Thomas, that had applied for a position, and through Joe Haney, Commissioner Haney's own admission, the auditor's office, himself, and two councilmen, and the two councilmen being Justin Keel and Mike Rosenbaum, did an investigation, and they started their investigation in September. September, October, November went by, and they never reported any overages to the insurance company. So if they believed that there was bleeding, they continued to let us bleed out. On November 20th, when we were supposed to have the vote for Monique Thomas, Mr. Stables, our auditor, called the insurance company at 11:50 and notified them that there was this overage payments. Now, I don't think that either one of them understand how the insurance works. When it's the car insurance, we have a private company that we have an insurance company that covers us, and we pay $1,000 for deductibles on car insurance. Back in May, you'll remember that both of them, both Haney and Mr. Stables, both insisted that the taxpayers were going to have to pay the full amount of car accidents because we were self-insured. And then we debunked that and showed that we do have insurance and we pay $1,000 deductible. Now we move on to our health insurance, UMR, and Mr. Commissioner Haney says that we overpaid $650,000 in overpayments. The way that the insurance works, and I'll explain it in 2 minutes, we have 2 payroll checks per month. The first payroll check, we take 15% from the employee and 85% from the county. that covers their insurance. It goes into a holding fund. The second check comes out, they do the same thing. They take that from the holding fund when we've collected both checks for the month, and we deposit it in what we call Bank 6. Bank 6 is under control of LaPorte County government. So we're not paying these huge premiums to anyone else. We're self-funded. We're self-insured. We put it into this bank account, and then as the claims come through, that's when it goes through Ms. Thomas, HR. She redacts whatever she has to. It goes up to the commissioner's office, from the commissioner's office to the auditor's office, where they can proof it against whatever the ACH deductions are, and that's just basically giving UMR the ability to withdraw their claims and then take it down to the treasurer's office where they have the final check and balance. So we do have dollar amounts, and hopefully Mr. Guy DiMartino will be able to explain that for us. I'm handing it over to you, Guy.
So, like Commissioner said, the health insurance program is a little different than what most people think when they think about health insurance. Can you hear me okay? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So most people, when they think of health insurance, they think of a standard first dollar plan. That's like me when I go out and buy car insurance, like or health insurance plan. who is enrolled in the plan. If it's a single person, there is Medicare fee of $160. If it's a company, premium for specific funds, and further to this clause, it can be administrative expenses. So even though we have companies that are paid at 85% of the county, and 15% of the employees, benefit monies do not leave the county. Because that is a significant expense, which is a medical expense, or there's a clause that the person is explaining the process of the goes ahead for these people for the 160-50 and 302 whether it was a person or whether it was a family. However, because those were administratively exclusive, you want never to take any work to account for those people that were carrying in the plan, you are not as refunded all that money. Unfortunately, because it's an act of insurance, they would only do that to refund the amount for the mortgage that was still on the plan and they were no longer considered by the county. They only had the 90-day waiting period going back. So they were in the process of reimbursing the county the premium for 90 days going back to the folks who were listed as part of the health insurance plan. They were no longer employed. Now, there's been statements that the plan, made overpayments or paid premiums or that's not true. That's not how it works. That money is sitting in the account. Currently, we're looking at approximately $15,000 that we're not going to be able to get reimbursed from the premiums from the stock loss area. All the other administrative expenses have been reimbursed for the process. Those are ones for the process of reimbursed going back 90 days. So that means approximately $16,000. When you put that in perspective, your plan administers every year somewhere around $11.5 million. It's probably a 1% cost. It's a cost that's still in there. Obviously, the account is looking at it doesn't seem so we can touch the problems, but this does happen in some certain times. So it's not $650,000. If it's not a typical occurrence, that's $625,000 is still the premiums fund.
You did nothing to stop it. You did nothing to stop the bleeding.
That's not true.
Yeah, that's not
So
true.
thank you, Mr. DiMartino, for your explanation.
And
It's a solid explanation.
Just let me know. Thank
Okay,
you.
we
It,
also
unfortunately,
have
it
to
doesn't
have-
comport itself with what Commissioner Grammarosa has said. Commissioner, you've spoken for quite a while. I'd love to address a few of the things here before we get a list that's going to wind up being longer than my arm. Looking back on your Chicago car crash, I know you're focusing on the $1,000 deductible. The county also did, of course, pay the $6,900 for the gentleman whose vehicle you totaled, as well as an extra $650 on top of the $1,000 that wasn't covered by the insurance company, coming out to
Actually,
right about
it was
$10,000.
covered, and it was the responsibility of the auditor to submit the additional bills in order to have that paid.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Of course you don't.
Sure either.
I don't know what she's talking about. I really don't.
So
I will point out though that we did pay that bill, even though we thought maybe we shouldn't because you took the car to Chicago when you shouldn't have.
And there
that we
is-
paid it because
and
we
there
think
is
that
an
we need to pay
ordinance
bills.
In 2013, that was written by the commissioners, that it does not say whether you, where and how you can drive that vehicle.
You get to
But
be your
that's
own
not
department
the
head.
issue here.
no,
We're here
let's focus on the
because
insurance here.
You went ahead and you said that there was an overage of $650,000, and there
That's
is
not what
no
I said.
overage.
That's not what I said.
Roughly $650,000 in overpayments.
Hmm?
So then there's the other issue that we
So let's go through that. Let's go through it line by line here so that you can see that. So that morning on December 11th, well, we'll go back 2 months, because 2 months earlier we had requested the bank statements for Bank 6, which is where the health insurance premiums go. For 2 months, a little more than 2 months earlier, the auditor's office initially requested it several times. About 3 weeks prior to this date here on December 11th, I reached out directly to the treasurer's office, also asking for the bank statements from Bank 6. We're trying to figure out, there were $650,000 in overpayments. We're trying to figure out exactly what money left the county, what money was in the county. So the majority of the payments, as Mr. DiMartino said, the majority of those have went into Bank 6. So it's still within the county. It didn't leave the county. However, there's the other amount that isn't. So the morning of December 11th, I reach out to the local agent, and I'm told by them that Commissioner Grammarosa has ordered him not to speak with me about anything related to the $650,000. Now, of course, this is obviously coming on the heels of not being allowed to see or having anything turned over, which the bank records are public record. Any of you out in the public could do a Freedom of Information Act APA request on these. So there was $650,000 in overpayments. Where is the money, right? Because as we've seen over the years in this county, okay, where is it? Just show it to me, right? So the vendor wasn't being allowed to speak to me or the auditor's office or anyone other than Commissioner Grammarosa. The bank statements had been withheld for 2 months.
True.
Still didn't have those. And then, let's see. Where's the rest of that? And then, of course, the other portion was, and we saw during the council meeting that there was 2 different plans that they were going to try and go for. They did go for the lower insurance premium, which I was glad to see. It's an interesting narrative you craft, but none of this would have happened had the information simply been turned over.
Are you done? So since August.
Why would you order a
September.
vendor to not speak to anyone about this?
Keep on with. I'll let you tell your story, and then we'll. When you're done, are you done?
Yeah, my simple question is, why would you order vendors not to speak to the auditor's office about these payments? Why would you do that? Why would you try and hide that?
August, September, October, November. You guys, what did you write in your own thing? The auditor and 2 councilmen, Justin Keel and Mike Rosenbaum.
You can put whatever names you
there
want
was
in
an
there, but
issue,
you're just
and
making
you
things
did
up.
not share that. Did you share that information with us in August?
We were trying to figure out where the money was
You
before
did
we
not
accused
share
anybody
it
of anything.
With anybody.
We shared it with UMR and with Berkeley, the insurance companies.
And they're saying that they had no.
You realize there's
No
a difference
information
between
on
the
that.
local company that does the brokerage
Then on
to buy our
November
services
20th
and the actual insurance companies, UMR and Berkeley. Those are different entities.
I understand that there are different entities, sir. I understand that. And I also understand that there's an issue with Anthem that is our dental, and you claimed that there was a $27,000 overpayment on that, and it turns out, and Mr. DiMartino can tell you, it was $1,000. This was done by design just to keep Monique Thomas from getting her position. You waited until November 20th when we were going to have that meeting. You walked into our office and you said, I don't even know why we're going to have a meeting after this because we're not going to have a vote. You put this salacious information out there just to prohibit Ms. Thomas from getting that position.
Accurate information is not salacious.
Out into all the councilmen and commissioners with a $650,000 overpayment to stop Miss Thomas, who has been doing that job for 20 months.
Let me speak to this.
There's actually another email that was sent out.
Why are you
to
deflecting
Ms.
from what
Thomas,
you did and trying to put it on a county employee?
to Miss Thomas, where Miss Thomas actually wanted to start a new project and get timesheets inside. It was the auditor who sent her an email and said he would not cooperate with her. He would not cooperate
That
with
was
her
not
to
the
do that.
phraseology of the email. Why don't you read the email?
Well, you know what? We'll put the email publicly out there. So
Can I speak to this? I'd like to take responsibility for something actually, because I think that being honest with the public is appropriate, and I'm going to be honest with the public. We regret the $650,000 number.
he doesn't.
Well, we regret the aspect of the $650,000 number, and I want to be very clear that I did not publicly say anything because we were still in a process of investigation.
But you dropped it the
Can I
day
speak,
we were
please?
going to vote
Can
for
I speak? Because I don't want your cross-examining and cross-accusation. I want to speak the truth to the public because that's what they deserve, and to you because that's what you deserve. But the truth is that Monique has made terrible mistakes. And when John Boyd and when Sheila Matias are still on the county insurance in October of 2023, we don't put them on and take them off. She does. That's a problem. So the losses are not as large as some. There's more than two. There's more than two. So I'm speaking now. I'm speaking. You can respond. You can respond when I'm done speaking. So I'm speaking now.
Make a comment because you know.
So there is a problem.
You purposely sent that email so I wouldn't be voted for that day.
I sent the email.
You did. You sent it at
because
2:32 p.m. on the day the council and the commission was supposed to vote for me, and you sent it out purposely. You Justin.
They needed to know that there is a problem with your service.
You guys set that up because
There is a
you-
problem
A
with your service.
$650,000 problem.
And it needed to be analyzed.
To put doubt
It's not true.
into them. So
Excuse me,
I want
Mr.
them
Staples,
to be
Ms. Thomas.
aware
you did that.
Excuse me,
Problem.
Mr. Staples,
A problem
finish,
that dates
Mr.
back.
Staples, finish what you're saying, and Ms. Thomas, if she needs to come up later, she can come up and.
Thank you. We may very well lose $10,000 because of your actions. Now, I did not go public with
No,
any.
15 because of your actions
That's
of
your,
not turning
that's
it
your
in
fabrication.
August.
You would not let us talk to you told the insurance person not to
In
talk to us.
August,
We couldn't get banking
you didn't talk
information.
to any of us. It was a
so-
coup.
so-
It was the Tib, Joe
Yeah,
Haney,
that's
Keto
not
coup.
true. That's not true. We've been in a process of investigation that we've been quiet about, except to the council and commissioners. It's all been behind the scenes
Not to the commissioners.
because we weren't certain of how it all worked. And so
Put it on
that's,
Facebook,
you know,
right.
this is now out publicly because of you.
No,
I
this
didn't
is
do
out
it.
publicly because of this, sir. Because of this, sir.
Well,
Because it was done at an executive session.
the fact of the matter is we may lose $10,000 because of your actions. That's real. That's real.
$17,000 to replace me, so what's the difference?
That's not me. That's your beef. That's your.
Pay $17,000 to a company to recruit, to replace me. So what difference does that make? Make it make sense.
Talk to the council and commission.
Excuse me, Madam President, may we move on, unless if we have specific questions for Mr. DiMartino's presentation.
I do have one specific question for Mr. DiMartino. The 15,000, that's just from calendar year 2023, correct? It doesn't take into account 22, 21?
That's correct. All that I've seen thus far from GIS and from the auditor's office is for 2023.
All right. And it stands to reason as we still, there's obviously a lot more entries to go through here, but it stands to reason that 15,000 just for 2023 is obviously gonna probably at a minimum be repeated for 22 and 21.
Well, I don't know, because for instance, Mr. Stabo said Mateus and Boyd, we know that they were employed those years.
Yeah, there's on one
They
of
were
these
on
lists
until
here,
October
there's
2023, guy.
There's 82 people
No, I
on one of
understand
these
that,
lists
but
here.
Mr. Haney said for 2022, and I said we know that they were employed in 2022.
They were left on until October 2023.
Mr. DiMartino's point is that those two wouldn't be there. My point is simply that the other 80, there's at least 82 on this one list right here. So either way, whether it's 80 or 82, you know, there's still a substantial amount of people for each year going back for the past couple of years. So 15,000, I just want to be specific on that, is just for the year 2023. It doesn't count 21 and 22.
I haven't seen anything from 21 to 22, correct?
Correct. Thank you.
And I did request all 2021 and 2022 through 23 monthly health. We put a whole list together from 2021 and 2022, and it seems that there was no auditing done in 2021 and 2022. The only audit that came out was the day of Ms. Thomas's vote on November 20th, and that was for 2023. If the auditor had actually audited the other years, it would just be a matter of either pushing a button on your computer and printing it out, or going to a file and forwarding it to us. And we continue to ask you for this information, for this data from 2021 and 2022.
You just asked 5 days ago.
And
We have to redact. It's going to take time, Commissioner. We waited 3 months for 2 or 3 months for statements from the treasurer, and you know we're not getting what we needed to do the auditing, and you're blaming us for we could have saved more money.
Didn't do it in 21 or.
I'm not going to play the blame game with you here. You know that's your thing.
Commissioner Cramarosa, in I believe it was April of 21, on the insurance board, myself and Councilman Mullenhour had concerns about folks who were on the insurance that maybe shouldn't have been. So we did an audit of our insurance for employees and dependents in 2021. We started that in April. It was completed in September of 2021, and you weren't here at the time. It was Commissioner Mateus. We voted on it, passed it 3-0. Cost us about $20,000 to do that audit, to get us into compliance and make sure there was no one on there who shouldn't have been. We were assured that all the steps would be taken, that anybody who was found to be on there who shouldn't have been was going to be removed, and unfortunately it appears that did not come to fruition. So there was an audit. Councilman Mullenhour and I both pushed for, and we got back in 2021 to kind of weed through some of these, because we did have some concerns. We were told it was handled. We spent the $20,000, and unfortunately, you know, neither him or myself are clerical people who sit down and sort through every single piece of paper in all these offices. So we rely on the information that we're given from either other elected officials or department heads.
And do you understand that the $650,000 is being held in a county account?
Well,
So-
you're saying 15 the other day. We got numbers from GIS that was 45. There's still numbers from the auditor's office that show 90, and that's just for 2023.
Well, I think
And if we go with that lowest number for 15 for 2023, we're probably going to be seeing 15 for 22 and 21 as well. So that's 45,000. Again, I don't know why. I don't know why you would try and hide where or try and
I'm
keep
not
any of us
hiding
from
anything.
seeing where it
You
is.
hid since August, September, October, and November. You hid it for 4 months, and then you dropped the email 3 hours before we were supposed to have Monique Thomas's a vote for Monique Thomas. And then what you did was you put doubt into the commission and the council so that they would not vote for her. You blamed this all on Monique Thomas, and there
You're
was a
getting
statement
confused
in
with
that
saying,
email
you
that
know,
says your people did not have access to it, and actually your people gained access in September. So we can keep on going back and forth. You want
That's,
to have go right ahead.
I think what you just said there,
Move on.
they gained access to it in September, obviously directly supports my contention that in September the auditor's office was trying to work with UMR in Berkeley in order to figure this out. It
No, they
literally
gained
just proved the point
access.
that they got
They gained
access to it in September
access.
because they were trying to figure it out.
That's not what they gained access for.
Madam President, maybe to end on a high,
Spin it however you want.
note, since this topic has been broached, I think it might be important for the public, if you would want to comment, or anyone for that matter, on that this problem is being solved, and there's a protocol that we're in a much better position now, so this won't happen. And to be candid, we don't know how many years there might have been people falling through the cracks. It could be more than 4 years, 5 years down the road. We don't know right now, but I think we have it solved now. If you could comment on that, I think that'd be good for the public.
And I think we have. I mean, we've gotten the number, the numbers that were first reported to Facebook, and actually Facebook people got that information before we did. The numbers for UMR is actually 15,000, roughly 15,000, and then for Anthem, which is our dental, is down to $1,000. So, moving on.
We did feel that, and we were very concerned that there were inadequate internal controls with regard to putting people on and taking them off the insurance whose sole responsibility lies with the HR department. And we did believe that that was a consideration because it was still in an investigatory stage. That was a consideration that the committee needed to be aware of. We regret if the $650,000 number didn't reflect the actual loss to the county, but we're still in a process of analyzing it. It was complicated. We had trouble getting information. You eventually told the principal of GIS to not speak with Commissioner Haney or not speak with me, which is outrageous.
4 months you held on to this information and shared it with not one councilman. Not out of your 4-member group that you self-appointed. You did not share that information with the other 6 members. You didn't even contact Monique Thomas to let her know that there was an issue. You dropped this as a big bomb of a $650,000 overpayment 3 hours before we were supposed to vote for her, or 2.5 hours before we were supposed to vote for her. That's the bottom line. So you can spin it however you want, but that's what you did. The emails will reflect it. That's what you did. You can keep on going back to who spoke to who. The bottom line is you held this information. 4 of you, 2 councilmen, Commissioner Haney, and yourself, you held that information for 4 months. You let us continue to bleed, and then you dropped it hours before we were supposed to vote for Monique Thomas's position, prohibiting her from getting the job.
Not true.
Madam President, may I speak?
Yes.
We have put protocols in place, like Mr. Paycheck said, we have those in place right now to keep this from happening in the future. However, when there are discrepancies between payroll and myself, we handle those internally. Things don't go outside, just like anything else. Like if they overpay someone on paycheck, that type of stuff stays in-house. It doesn't go publicly. People don't know about it. They don't know if 6 or 7 employees are getting paid more than what they're supposed to. But I'm not, that type of stuff stays internal. Just like this could have. This whole issue could have been resolved easily. Had they pulled my coattail and say, "Hey, Monique, we got a discrepancy. Let's go. Hey, let's talk to you and Mara. Let's sit down with our vendor and let's resolve this." It didn't have to go public like it did, but it did. But right now, as a professional in my integrity, I, along with some other people, we have tried to resolve this issue so it doesn't happen again. We have protocols in place so it doesn't happen again. However, why did it just happen this year? My predecessors did not have to go through this, but I did.
Yes, and it's a shame, and I apologize to you.
It could have all been prevented, is all I'm saying. We're all professionals here.
That is not true. Since I came to office, we've had perennial problems.
You're the auditor, so
We've
you
had,
should have audited.
we've had
those
perennial
before you
problems
step foot into
with
that office.
the HR department putting people on and taking people off inaccurately. There's just that's been a problem from day one. My old payroll people.
Like I said, this could have all been handled.
That was one of their worst nightmares.
This is not something
Dealing
that
with that.
everybody publicly should know, because there's people information on that email that you sent out, which is could be a HIPAA violation.
Email I sent out was the county officials.
It had names on there.
I
We
did.
move on.
It had
The
names.
county
However,
officials.
Let's close it down, Madam President.
we have protocols in place to keep this from happening again. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Do we have any other department heads on Zoom?
No.
Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to request. Consider pause point AED registry for 911.
Hello, Commissioners. Matt Decker, Assistant Director, 911. Here on behalf of the Healthcare Foundation. Randy's working on this project along with Julie, that's also here. Maria Fruth from the Healthcare Foundation couldn't be with us tonight. She gives a lot better speech than I do, so I'll try to make it quick. But what we're working towards is a heart health safety community. And we've been recognized throughout the state as having some issues with heart health safety, and we're the foundation's trying to make that better. And they started with giving out many AEDs throughout the county, and this started with getting a registry for these AEDs, so when somebody has a cardiac event or cardiac arrest, that we can get the people there quickly to help them and register this. So the Healthcare Foundation started with the City of LaPorte and the LaPorte Fire Department to get the City of LaPorte recognized as a heart health safe community, heart safe community, and that has been a lot of work with them to get this recognition. Will be the first community in the state. After we get the city recognized for this, we're going to move on to the county to get the whole county recognizes this. It recognizes us throughout. There'll be big placards when coming in. It looks good for everything we're doing. So our part of this to get this larger recognition is the Pulse Point product, and that's what I'm here to ask you guys tonight. The product we're looking at will alert residents when we get a call for a patient that needs CPR or an AED in the community in a public location. It takes roughly 3 to 7 minutes in town to get an ambulance or fire truck there to start, and every minute counts, as the slide shows, towards that. So what we're trying to do is to get that time dropped, and how we do that is an app that will go on your phone that is voluntary to sign up for. When we take a 911 call at the center, we'll put that in, and automatically on the backside it'll put an alert out to the community. Anybody within a quarter mile of that location, in a public location, will get a alert on their phone that there's a person in the area that needs CPR. If you're trained in it, you can sign up. You'll be able to go off and offer that CPR until we can get the ambulance or the fire truck there. The other point to this is all the AEDs that the Healthcare Foundation in the Play for Jake Foundation have given out will go in a registry throughout our county. They're spread out all over. when we put this call in, it'll tell you and alert you that there's an AED in the area and that we can go grab that and get that early defibrillation. If you go another slide, Darlene, a couple more. If you see on here how much your chance of survival increases with that early AED and that early hands-on CPR is what we're trying to achieve. And you can see how much this can help us and what the other communities throughout the country that have done it, and also the state of Indiana. So there's a lot to this to get it. There's also a section that'll work for first responders that'll get more in depth, but I won't go through the whole program. So what we're asking for tonight is support from the commissioners to pursue this. We need the healthcare foundation is offered to grant us. Obviously, there's a cost to it, so they have offered to pick up the upfront costs, but they just need to know that we're on board to do this, so that Maria can go and ask for funding to get this moving. So tonight we're just asking that we can go forward with this and start that way.
Go to the council.
And then once we find out what the healthcare foundation is going to pay for, we can go to the council and because they offered to take care of the upfront cost, but there'll be a yearly maintenance fee after that. I did check with the state, and that's not something that we can take out of our user fees, so it'll have to be county funded. But I just know that there'll be a cost eventually. So, anything to add, Randy?
The only thing that Randy Novak, chairman of the LaPorte County Fire Chiefs Association, and we endorse this, but is the Healthcare Foundation has given out over 200 AEDs throughout LaPorte County. And we have, I think it might be in your packet. If not, we can get it to you. But there's a map of where they all are. And they're doing a fantastic job. And as Matt stated, their first priority is the city of LaPorte, because the city of LaPorte's fire department is on board with this, and they're teaching CPR to all these people. And they need to be a heart-safe city, they need about 3,300 certified or people that know CPR. So you don't have to be fully certified. It could be that you know CPR, and there's several different styles of CPR. There's hands-on, hands-off, different kinds of things. But they're identifying those and getting this in place. And as soon as they get LaPorte City on, as Matt stated, they're going to take this to Michigan City. They're going to take this throughout the entire county. So it is an absolute fantastic program. The Healthcare Foundation, as everybody up here knows, is a great partner with LaPorte County. So they're going to pick up all the upfront cost for the first year. I think there's a small. It might have been like a 600, but there was a little thing that might not be covered by them that the council would have to pick up. But then after that, there's a yearly renewal fee that I think is.
So now, Councilman Novak, did you help us acquire the 26 that we have currently that we're installing throughout the buildings right now?
So I worked with Amanda to come up with a list to make sure we had enough, because to make sure that they were all the same and they were all compatible. And we worked with, I don't know why I'm pointing at you.
EMS.
EMS. Used to be EMS.
Took that head.
To make sure that they were the right ones and they're compatible, because the thing is, you can't just go out and buy any AED and use it, because the leads will not be compatible with EMS. So you don't want EMS to get there and have to rip the pads off, put on new pads. I mean, the idea is as smooth transfer as possible. So we got 26, and I think they're all getting installed. I seen the list; they installed a bunch of them today. So
yes, thank you for helping us out. Are you looking for a motion of support right now, or?
I think he's asking for permission to approach the council if needed.
If needed, and to support, yeah.
Make a motion to continue working with the Healthcare Foundation, as well as approach the council if you need to for funding.
Second motion.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, I do. Back in a prior life, when I worked at NIPSCO, AEDs were kind of a new thing then. We always had CPR training, and but when the AEDs come out, I was chairman of the safety committee. I made sure that we got them in all generating stations in any location where you had a number of people. And I know that the AEDs now are a lot more user-friendly, you could say it. They're really, I don't think you really need a lot of training to know how to use one. Maybe in recognizing when you need to use one, but I still think we had one there that was like a trainer, and I don't know. I think it wouldn't be a real bad idea, just to maybe go into each department and say, "Here it is," and let it talk its way through, because it tells you what to do, and just to kind of familiarize it. So you're not going in, somebody's laying on the floor and all of a sudden you're freaking out. What do I do?
The intention would be to have training for everybody in all the buildings.
Good idea.
I know they got installed in the Hyler building today. They got installed in Michigan City Courthouse and
This courthouse,
this
the new
courthouse
ones
here. But there'll be training also for everybody on there.
Good idea.
The ones today are so user friendly. I mean, they talk to you, they tell you what to do. The pads have diagrams on them, so it's a very nice thing. And this app, when you could be walking in Kroger's and you get an alert if you know CPR, and it'll say, hey, somebody at Kroger's having a heart attack. They need you in the AEDs up front. I mean, it's incredible the technology that's out there. So
Thank you.
definitely be a good thing for everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, guys, for what you do.
Really just wanted to make one comment.
You gotta come up here. They're gonna yell at you, tell me.
Julie West. I'm the founder of the Play for Jake Foundation, and I think what we're learning more and more is the importance of not only having that AED, because it's great to have that life-saving device, but if no one knows how to use it or where it is, that's a problem. And we dealt with that with a young man at New Prairie High School when he went into sudden cardiac arrest, and there was an AED within seconds, and no one grabbed it because there was no plan in place. So that's the biggest thing I want to see with all of our departments is the ADs, where they're located, but then have an emergency response plan that everybody knows what to do. Call push shock. Everybody knows what to do, because if we don't practice it, we're not going to know, and then we could possibly lose somebody because we weren't prepared to save a life.
Do we know we're training where we can, kind of talk about it right here at this meeting? Where would we send people for training?
The LaPorte Fire Department will train you for free.
Okay.
Right now. So
they just call and make arrangements, or are they giving classes on certain days?
Andrew might get. I know EMS also
if he's
is
watching,
trained.
they're probably
He's
gonna
watching at home. I'll get the texts, but I know his department also has some trainers that have trained, like the Parks Department and other county employees, if we're looking just for county. But like Randy said, the Healthcare Foundation has paid for a lot of free training through the LaPorte Fire Department.
And through EMS. I'm sure there's a lot of people in EMS. They probably got their own trainers there that we could coordinate.
Yeah, so why don't you coordinate that and then try to get some dates just for the county employees, and then maybe we can invite people from the public and we can give classes here. We can get it out. Okay? Thank you.
You'll be the first to sign up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, consider permission to approach the council for funding to pay Motorola.
Murder rule.
Hello.
I'll take this one.
Oh, thank you. Bart Houston, Director 911, requesting approval to go before the council for the Motorola Solutions connectivity support. They've given us two quotes. One is for a year at $82,214.62, and the other is for 5 years at $388,138.60. And that would be a cost savings in 5 years of $22,934. So.
Make a motion to have you approach the council for funding on either the 1 or 5 year plan, whatever the council decides.
Thank you, sir.
They have room in the budget, please.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Consider signature request for Tiggs Canteen contract for food services for the sheriff.
Good evening, Commissioners. Ron
You're
Heat,
eating
Sheriff.
Canteen.
I'm sorry?
I said you're feeding people from the canteen.
Feeding people from Tiggs, correct. If you remember, I think it was maybe September or October, we came to you with the bid process for our food services within the jail. We recommend that we proceeded with Tiggs. You guys approved that as well. We're here tonight with the contract for that. We're satisfied with the contract, the contents of it, It has gone through legal. They asked for a couple of changes and recommendations, which were done to the contract. So it's been approved by legal, and it's recommended by us too. If we could get your approval and signature tonight on that.
Approve.
Second.
How many signatures they have on there? All three or just one?
Just one for the president.
Okay, motion to approve.
Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Trying to write as quick as I can, but that's a long last name. Okay, under old business.
Thank you, and wish you guys a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas, sir.
Merry Christmas. Under old business, consider second and final reading of the stormwater ordinance and technical standards.
Motion to approve on second reading by title only.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Do we have discussion on it?
Read the title, stormwater ordinance and technical standards. Motion to approve on second reading.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. New business, consider on-call contract with Lockmuller.
Motion to approve.
They also need to vote to approve.
Second.
They just read it by title.
We have a motion and a second on on-call contract. All those in favor say aye.
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 Excuse me, Commissioner.
To adopt.
We went too fast.
No, you're doing great. I missed something with the MS4 ordinance. I think we do need a motion to adopt the ordinance. If I missed it, I apologize.
That stormwater ordinance you're talking
Yes. Move for adoption as to the second reading. It's been read twice by title only now. So we need to move to approve and adopt the ordinance.
Move to adopt the ordinance by title only.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that. Mr. Paycheck, do we need public comment for this? For a second reading?
If you'd like to advertise it just to be safe, I have no
It
objection.
would be a good idea to open it up to public, just Mr. Haney.
So do we have anyone from the public that would have public comment?
I'll just make this brief because when you say an on-call contract, is that what we're talking about now? Or
No,
we're with
we're-
MS4?
Yeah, we're back to.
Oh, with the MS4, okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
The
I'm
water
sorry.
storm ordinance, so was to
To adopt it on second
To
reading.
adopt it
Which
on the
I'll-
second
no,
reading.
Okay, I didn't have a question for that. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have anyone on Zoom? Okay, closing public comment. So we have consideration for second and final reading and adoption of the water ordinance and technical standards. We have a motion. Do we have a motion?
I have motion to approve to.
And we have a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now, consider agreement between LaPorte County and Purdue University.
Dun, dun, dun.
Good evening again. Randy Novak. I sit on the Purdue Extension Board, and Kelsey, the director out at Purdue, couldn't be here. She's on Zoom if you have any questions. The contract is $241,900 $295. $241,295. And it's the amount that was approved in the council's budget for them. And this is a contract for next year. And I just want to tell everybody, in the years past, there was some turmoil and different things out at Purdue Extension, and things weren't that great. Things right now with Kelsey being there and the crew and the employees that we have out there, things are better than ever. And Kelsey's pledge is 2,000 kids within 5 years. So, you have anything you want to add, Kelsey?
No, I think that covers it, but I thought you weren't going to mention the.
I know, she gives me a hard time because I keep pushing the 2,000 kids. But the enrollment is up a little bit, the attitude, everything that's out there, if you talk to 4-H, if you talk to the Fair Board, if you talk to everybody, they just praise the group out at Purdue Extension right now, it's a whole different flavor out there.
Yeah, we've come a long way in 2 years, so we appreciate your work, Kelsey.
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Agreement.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
No,
We have the permission to travel for adult probation. Mr. Irick was unable to join us this evening. He had another commitment tonight. But the first one is travel from January 29th into February for the annual Community Anti-Drug Coalition of America National Leadership Conference. And then the second is permission for 3 employees to travel to Seattle, Washington for the Adult Probation and Parole Association Institute, February 25th to 28th. I would move to approve these.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. And then our third request, because he did 1 and 2 together, request Senator Dalton to make an inquiry into the county's fund balances, year-to-date expenditures, and available funds on hand for purposes of year-end reporting and account reconciliation. Do I have a motion?
A motion to approve that.
Do we have the contract? Did you see the?
We actually approved it, and we don't have a contract. He's our financial. He was approved at the beginning of the year. So do I have a second? I'll step down and I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we have a nay?
I'm not familiar with exactly what we're passing here, so I'm going to abstain from that.
We have 2 nays, 2 yays that pass. Motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.